Hi guys, this is Ali Bakir Khan with another episode of Youth Alumni Association. Today we've got Beenish here, and she's working as a senior channel manager in Germany. She has completed her BSc honors from LUMS, and the company she's working for is actually an e-commerce software industry. So first of all, Beenish, thank you so much for joining in the good cause today. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Ali, for taking our time to talk to me. I'm doing fine, and I'm really hoping you as well.
I'm pretty good as well. Yes. I mean, after having sessions with you people, definitely there's a lot of hope, not just in me, but in the youth who's listening to this as well, that there are people who are encouraging career counseling. And, the idea behind the fact that we need to create more leaders and we need to create the entrepreneurial mindset, within ourselves. So first of all, I would want you to throw some light upon, a little bit about your career journey, where you started from, and was there help regarding career counseling at that time, or you think there was nothing like that and you had to just, just figure it out on your own? Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, you take me back in time, like, it's been years, but, it started, I mean, I would even go a little bit back from the university only because to kind of show that everybody has similar issues and similar success and failures in, in the South Asian environment, and especially in Pakistan. So as you can imagine, with a lot of South Asian parents, and we see they have very defined careers, and when it comes to women, it's even more defined careers. So so you can imagine that I also had been put into the pressure to be a doctor.
Okay.
Or because that doctor and engineer thing never ends. So I actually studied pre-medical. I even went to the college for pre-medical. But I was so sure I don't want to do that. And I started about that journey from there because it was a hard step, like, at that stage, to convincing my parents, that eventually they said, okay, yeah, this is really not for you. So, and I was a good student. So, like, they were like, okay, you're good in studies, you can do it. Like, so but it's not about that, only. So it was leaving the pre-medical, and then how the career paths in Pakistan are defined, then your universities also depend on the college you went to. So I had to actually take a gap year because I was like, okay, what to do? I mean, now I need to prepare for something else. I have to figure out, because I don't want to enroll into a medical school and go through that. So a big failure at that time, very stressed and all that, and working, but I didn't give up. Like, I was like, okay, I got to do something. What if, let's come in par with the people who don't study medical. And I think two things are mathematics and physics you have to do to enter into the grad schools, which are not medical. So I kind of took tuitions and time to cover that, give entrance exams. And, then I was just trying, and I got to know about LUMS through a friend, and I was like, let's apply. And I have to be honest, I did not know too much about LUMS before entering, because I knew everything about all the medical universities and medical colleges, but not business and engineering college. Just so that's where not knowing, I entered, and then I started investigating, and I was like, okay, this is really good. And I kind of then started feeling lucky. Okay, after such failure and taking a gap, I'm finally here. So that's where I came into the university, and I wouldn't bore you with the whole 4 years of that, but I mean, it was a really switching point in, because I was fortunate enough to be in a university where, in the very end of your 4 years, there is also a focus on career counseling, and we get training because it's a business school. So you can imagine presentation matters, whether it be in academics or in personality. So they also help you, present how to, go present and be making you as a presentable, I wouldn't call it a product or comedy, but a person, so I got that help. But generally, I mean, what I have seen is universities in Pakistan do not have that focus. So I mean, it's more education. You have to figure it out on your own, how to apply, where to go. I got a little bit of help there. Then, I was part of also a lot of extracurricular and societies within LUMS. So that helped also a lot,
Can you tell, I mean, basketball, what was that? We want to know
No,
more
I
about
I was
Beenish apart
no,
from
I was
the,
not those sporty types.
okay.
Unfortunately, I would have wished for that a bit more. But I was part of the Entrepreneur
I
Society,
see.
Model UN, and Isaac,
Mhm.
and so with and also that gave me a direction to go abroad. Like with Isaac, it's a if you're not
I've
familiar
heard
with that,
about it. Yeah, I
you
mean,
can go
I was a
into.
part of Isaac back in Islamabad. I met quite a few people, but then I wanted to be a part of, activities in LUM, so I went there rather than Isaac. So I mean, there
Yeah.
were,
No, so I mean, they kind of, you can go for a full-time 1-year exchange after
yeah.
graduation. So I think I kind of wanted that, but it
All right.
doesn't happen so quickly. And so I graduated, and I took, how it is when you're graduating. Looking back in time, I would have done things differently, but how much pressure you get, your friends are getting jobs and all this, so
Yeah.
you're trying to land into something as quickly as possible. Really bad idea. But I also took something in Pakistan, in Islamabad, and I did not like it. It did not work at all. 3 months later, I quit. I was like, this is not for me. I mean,
Hmm.
my ideology, my ethics, everything was not working. So I was like, too much compromise. Let's leave it that time. And then I mean, I got even more enthusiastic to apply for Isaac internships and go abroad
Yeah.
also. So that was like, that's how I moved to Germany, because I got a opportunity for a 1-year
So this would be a
exchange.
good, thing to tell the youth as well. Whenever we guys ask to share your career journeys, they can do the same thing. They can follow Isaac. They can be a part of Isaac. Isaac is open for those kind of applications, I guess, and then they can find their way out as well. What would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the only way. I mean, I'm just saying it worked for me. There are also universities where, like, maybe Isaac might not be active and all this, but there are also, you can also, I mean, there are certain ways to go direct as well, look for opportunities. Even, what I think is important, what I learned is that take your time.
Hmm.
Don't it I know how much pressure it is when you're graduating. Even your family, your uncle, aunts, everybody, oh, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? Don't
Yeah.
get into, if take your time. If it takes you 2, 3, 4 months to find something, it's okay. That you need to, you have to live through that pressure, because landing into, because once you land into something, switching is not very easy. you
Yeah.
get you get into your comfort zone. Okay, now I got something, let's be there. So I think take your time
And
and
don't
look.
waste your time, by pursuing a career where you think that you might switch. I mean, what about all those 2 3 years that you've spent in a certain industry? So it's always good to connect between what you're interested in and what you want to pursue. What do you think about that particularly?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, as I say, like, don't land into the first thing as quickly as possible, but also don't waste that time. I mean,
Yeah.
do rigorous research, apply. You
Yeah.
need to stand out. I mean, uh, I don't even have count of exchange programs and Isaac I applied to.
Mhm.
It's like probably in hundreds. And
Yeah.
and it's like because then you're even competing with Whirlpool, and there are not just even from Pakistan, but even every country, people are applying for every position that is publicized on the Isaac network.
Yeah.
So and even not, I mean, it's not the only way. That was just one. Even if you're applying somewhere else, I mean, it's so many people applying, you can't think about so you need to apply a lot, but also apply with focus. I mean, I don't want anybody listening here taking it wrong, that, oh, let's throw my resume here, throw it there, throw it.
It's not going to work
No,
out, especially these
apply
days
a
when
lot.
there are a lot of people actually graduating in the same industry, in the same particular field, and then there are thousands of those people. So what do you think, Beenish? One more question that I want to add on here is, what's the way of standing out of the crowd while you're applying for a specific job? Let's for example, you are in the e-commerce software industry, right? So if there are a lot of applicants applying for one thing, what would your advice be to the students and to the applicants who actually like to apply? So what's one thing that they should focus on so that they can get better results?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, very good question. And this is something I touch upon with, sometimes with people. And I have seen also now I've been on that side where I had to look through resumes and applicants.
Okay.
Focus, I mean, is, the
I mean, like
people who are,
how? Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. So the people who are reading or you who are looking at your application, they have experience. They just by without even talking to you, you're going to make your first impression from that virtual interaction, whether it be a cover letter, whether it be your message on LinkedIn. Make it relevant, make it focused,
Relevant.
get the other person realize that you have read through the job opportunity. If you have, I say so many times, do not apply without cover letters. Just don't throw your resume. A cover letter helps so much because this is the thing that makes you stand out, really shows the recruiter, this person or managers, that you have done some research, you really have interest in this position. Try to even use some of the words. If there is a job description out for the role you're applying, try to use some of the words from that job description, some skills they have talked about exactly with those words, talk about them so they know that, you are serious about it. I mean, you would be surprised that I have seen people applying even in outside Pakistan, in Germany, and how many people just do not have the cover letters. And it's really, for me as a,
Embarrassing
recruiter,
fact that, I mean, from such a country that has such a talent, immense talent, where, almost 70% of the people, are from the young age, they don't have that mindset where they even know the basics. So that's how I think you would
So I
want to.
think, yeah, that's important. And what else will make you stand out? My idea always is when you're applying, okay, be confident about yourself. You have to have trust in yourself, but also it's sometimes good to think that everybody else who's going to apply is better than me. And then, work on your application for that role. Like, you're like, okay, people are going to be, so be really not, really a little bit, underestimate is not the right word, but you know what I mean? That don't think about you that, oh, I am good, and maybe other people are
Don't be
not.
overconfident, be confident,
Yeah.
but don't. And then I still remember I was having a conversation with the country head of British American Tobacco. The reason I want to name the company is because it's a good corporate company. And one advice that he gave me was that, I mean, I've got 23 years of my career experience, and every day I learn, Ali. So are you getting my point? What he was trying to tell me was that learning never stops. Whenever you appear in an interview, don't show them that, okay, you're like, a king or anything. I mean, you're here to learn. This is how there is a triangle that you're supposed to connect with. And within that triangle, what happens is basically you're supposed to tell them that, okay, this is what I can help you out with. This is my skill set. This is what I will be getting after working with you guys. And so that they know that this guy doesn't have an impression where he thinks that he has achieved everything, because every company appreciates the fact that you are here to learn, and also your background that you came from. So what do you think? I mean, how can we connect those pointers? And when we are in an interview, how can we come up with such description where you can say, because we don't have, I mean, HR does not have enough time to just, listen to whole stories of yours. How should we concisely, just try to explain ourselves? What would be the best way?
I think it's again that thing word I use, focus, is important. That in this regard, when I was talking about cover letter, it's all about before you haven't landed in front of that interview.
Yeah.
But then, I have seen very often, especially with fresh graduates, they try to tell everything, but not realizing that every single thing you have done in your high school and university might not be relevant for that interviewer. Tell them the top things, like, if you were made a head proctor in your high school class, I mean, it's great, but might not be relevant for this person interviewing you. So, really skipping to the main points that are relevant to that job. If you're applying, you have what is really there relevant, and not, try to tell every single extracurricular activity you did out there. I mean, even if you won a badminton match, I mean, yeah, of course, that is good. They have seen on your CV, but not, depends on the time, as you said, because it could be that interview is scheduled for 30 minutes and you want to use the time to the maximum.
Yeah.
Another thing I would suggest is, and I have seen that again with fresh graduates a lot, they're very scared to ask questions. Have at least 2 to 3 questions prepared for your interview. You need to do that. That gives such a positive impression, because that this person has done some research. They can be about the role, they can be about the company as well. They can be also about the company culture, but ask some questions. It's your right.
I agree. I mean, try to show them that you're different and try to ask them the relevant questions. For example, if somebody is asking, do you have any questions? Just don't say no. Just try to ask them, okay, about your company. If you guys hire me, what am I going to get out of it? Because it's your right. Obviously, you being an employee as well, try to show them that this is really important for you, and always have a plan B in your mind, because they might ask you, if not this, then what? And at times people are blank that, okay, then what? Do you think this is important as well, to just come up, always have a plan B, or do you think we should just focus on plan A always?
I mean, I don't know in this case what exactly you mean by plan B.
Let me tell you, let me elaborate my question. My question is, for example, people who are actually, applying for medical and they're giving their entry test in Pakistan or where else, even in Germany, in America, whatever your system is, and they're so focused, but some part of them thinks that, okay, they're not fit for that industry, or they didn't score well, or they did not have that opportunity due to some ABCD reason. So do you think, I mean, at that point of time, a lot of people start thinking that, okay, you know what, they lose their dream because they're so much passionate. So at that time, do you think plan B might help them out? Because if you were not good for this, you might be good for that. So yes, you should, your primary focus should be on that. But do you think having a plan B does help you out? That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's yeah, to have that thing open. Never, think that this, yeah, it's good to focus, like, I want to do this in life and all this, but anything might not work with, it can happen to anybody that you're fail. I was telling you that medical did not work for me. I was totally like, what I'm going to do with my life right now, again, when I took the job, I mean, in Pakistan, 3 months later, I quit because it was like not, and I had no idea what I'm going to do right now, all the pressure. So sometimes I can imagine that plan B is not so easy to make. So even if you don't have plan B, be open for the change.
Okay.
Because I totally can get this, can put so much pressure on young people. What is my plan B? It's okay. If you don't have it, it's okay. Be ready for the failure is more important, and learn from the failure is more
unlearn
important.
and then learn. This is one thing that I was discussing with a person. I was having a podcast with him, and he said that because the career dynamics and the whole industry is changing at a rapid pace, we never knew that, remote work would be an option for us. And now people always have, a different background. I see such a good background. I mean, you've got such good paintings that I can just see, so why? Because now you're working. I don't know if you're working from home, or if even if you are, you've got, people are learning, and they're learning through different aspects of their lives. So we should always be ready to adapt. Willingness to adapt is something that we should be good at. This is what my message is. One more question, Beenish, would be, what do you think? Because since you mentioned that in LUMS you used to work for that entrepreneurship society that you were talking about, so do you think some part of people in Pakistan, not even in Pakistan, in the entire world, because you've been visiting different countries like Italy and Germany and all those. So where do you think we guys, like talking about Pakistani people, where do we stand in terms of entrepreneurship? And if we are lacking in that aspect, what is the main reason of us not, providing people with those opportunities? Is that one of the reasons, or is it our own mindset that is pulling us behind? Or, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, and I mean, those are the things which are not probably in our control, is, I mean, the economical situation affects a lot. It puts so much pressure for people to not, because entrepreneurship is all about risks.
Yeah.
And for risks, to be able to take risk, you always want to have some firm ground in the back, or like in, even not by yourself, but the country and the people. And I think for us in Pakistan, people are sometimes afraid of taking risks or failure because of the society, the pressure that it puts on it. The society is just, failure is seen as such a negative thing. I mean, it's nothing good, but people don't think that, that this is a learning process as well. We don't have a lot of also support from the government per se. And I'm thinking about, when you talk about entrepreneurship, can be different type. It can be in a job. Every job requires that it could be just doing something on your own, like startups, or having your own business, or doing something on your.
Yeah.
I think it's not the first thing that graduates think about, but because of these things, because they haven't seen that successful path from their seniors, but it's slowly changing. I'm seeing a lot of change. I've been outside for 12 years, but I'm seeing in past 5 years is changing. It makes me very happy. What I think we can help as alumni, as a people, like to really encourage that, support that. As I said, because one thing with entrepreneurship is be ready to reach out to people and learn, reach out to alumni, reach out to people who have done it successfully. So I think all of that would help, but it lacks because, we haven't seen that help coming in from the industries, from the people. We don't have big industries in Pakistan having their incubators. If you look at countries here, like in Germany, you look about BMW is a strong brand here, Audi, Siemens, SAP.
Because we're not working on that aspect, right? There's no unicorn company, sadly.
And all these companies have their own separate entities, which are for the startup incubators, entrepreneurship programs, where they are not encouraging people to just come and do a 9-to-5 job with us, but they're like, come learn in an environment that we have created to start something of your own. And we have really big companies in Pakistan in industries. I mean, in it can be in clothing industry, steel, manufacturing, in other industries, where none of these companies have those kind of programs from young graduates. Their focus is just to recruit them for their own, good.
So do you think if every institute, for example, talking about LUMS, obviously LUMS and IBA, they are considered as tier 1 institutes. Let's talk about institutes like different universities like ComSats, FAST, Government College University, then we've got UCP, a lot of those universities. So that means we have a lot of students coming in, graduates are there. So we have immense talent. One thing that I'd like to mention here is that we don't have enough opportunities. So to build those opportunities in last 2 minutes, what do you think should be those strategies? Like one thing that you already mentioned is that we guys should reach out. We should never hesitate. And this is something that we guys particularly are doing in Youth Alumni Association as well. You guys can subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Youth Alumni Association. If you guys need to know about the career journeys of different people, this might help you in, getting something in terms of your career. So Beenish, what do you think, for example, if you've gotten a certain authority in Pakistan as a politician, or let's, for example, whatever, what would be your 2 strategies to minimize these problems in a sense that there are less opportunities, but immense talent? So what's happening is that we've got a lot of supply coming in, but the demand side, we don't have, unfortunately, I hope you get my question.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so there will be 2 things if I have to say, and again, 100%, we have so much talent, and this is because we have so much competition. I have not seen that much competition between because people like the graduates in the countries outside in Europe. So in Pakistan, because of that competition, people have to really stand out. So we have really good talent. Now where institutions can help, or the government, the 2 things. One thing, again, what I said, these big companies we have in Pakistan, we do have, some of the international brands also in Pakistan, but they're really, really running locally, like Jazz, it can be, or it can be some other industry. See, these industries should try to have a chapter within where they are promoting entrepreneurship. So some kind of incubators, some kind of talent promotion programs, so that people can have that entrepreneurial mindset. The other thing is, it would be so good if our government is protecting or having some kind of benefits for people to come up with their own small businesses. Like it could be like, taxation helps, it could be other helps, it could be like, you can rent help for
Yeah.
places. There's so many initiatives that I've seen in Europe, the governments do to protect the small businesses and
Okay.
especially graduates. So that's going to help because the talent is there. We're not giving them a ground to play in,
I
and that's
agree.
eventually going to help the country. In the long run, it's going to help the country, not just those people. And I
Definitely.
think this is like, you will say, okay, if I'm a graduate, yeah, then should I wait for government to make that change or big institutions? So what can you do in your level to be, to create opportunities for you? Again, I think
Try to build your profile or try to just distinguish yourself. I mean, on LinkedIn, just try to put on some, for example, talking about you, I've seen your profile. It was really impressive. I mean, you've mentioned it clearly that you've been working, here and there as an enthusiast, or I mean, just, come up with something that makes you stand out of the crowd. And it could be anything. It could be your communication. It could be something that you're different in. So try to know about your skill set and then go for that skill set, because I mean, no one, everyone has a unique personality. So if there cannot be a second Beenish, Beenish is just Beenish, or Ali is Ali, or Usman is Usman, or let's, for example, talking about any XYZ person. So try to come up with your own personality. Don't copy people. This is something that we're also, observing, is that
I mean, you can copy in a positive way
in a
as well.
positive way,
Learn,
but come
reach
up
out to
with
your
your
peers.
own, your own talent. In the end, copying is not bad. I mean,
Yeah,
copying or getting motivation is good, but have your
yeah.
own personality. It does not matter if you're earning, if you're a millionaire or not. As long as you have your own identity in this world, this is what matters to people. So thank you so much for your time today, Beenish. I'm pretty sure that, I mean, people who are going to listen to it, they might get something out of it, and they would eventually, because we are receiving good responses. And this is just a small initiative. Slowly and gradually, we are going to move towards, at a rapid pace, in which we're going to come up and go to schools individually to just show these podcasts to them. So people like you who are actually being a part of this cause, I really appreciate them. Thank you so much again for joining in. And if you have any question for me, go ahead and ask, and
Thank you so much. Now, Ali, just can appreciate you. This is so needed. And if I can help in any other way in your initiatives in the future, would be happy, because there's so much talent, as you mentioned, and it's a responsibility for people who have done this for 12 years, and to really help that fresh talent coming out. So really, thank you, and wish you all the success with this initiative.
thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you. And guys, you can subscribe, our channel, Youth Alumni Association, and looking forward towards some more podcasts. And thank you so much, Venus. It was nice talking to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ali.
Bye-bye.